fighting all day by this time, and that's when, as it was getting dark, they started yelling, "Marines, you die! You die, Marines! You die tonight, Marines!" And it was like, oh shit, and I remember I had that 45, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to let it take me alive, if it comes to that, man. But I told my corpsman had been wounded by this time. He was wounded a couple of times, and we were in the same hole together, and I had this 45, and I thought to myself, if we get overrun, I'm not going to let him take me alive, and I'm not going to let him take Doc alive. And so I had it laying like this on my chest, and then is when the jets came in. Right before dark, we had these Phantoms and Crusaders come in, and they came so close that you could see the pilot in the plane. You could see his little head, and he's looking like this. And as they come in screaming in, they drop the napalm. And all of a sudden, these walls of fire just start coming up all around us. It was so close that I remember I heard them coming in, I saw them, and I put my head down. And then when I looked back up, I could feel the intensity of the heat from the napalm. And I dropped back down and I covered my head. I fell asleep. I don't know how long I was asleep, but when I opened my eyes again, it was dark. It was pitch dark. I could hear the guys, there was 22 of them in that hole with me. I could hear them moaning, and I just thought to myself, oh man, and I could hear the battles still going on all around us. They had made like a perimeter around the wounded. My little pocket was just one small pocket of wounded. They wanted us to break out, but we had so many wounded we couldn't move. We were stuck there. As I laid there, I was thinking to myself, man, they're going to overrun us. They're coming. And we knew that at that moment, I didn't know that some of the golf company, I think it was, and Echo, had made it out. They had fought their way out and they had broke through. There was only a few of us left behind, and we were made up of all different groups because we were all wounded, but it was Hotel that a lot of the guys that were left behind was Hotel. And I thought, this is it, man. This is it. If they come, I don't want them to take me alive. That's all I could think about was I really thought we were done. I thought this is it, man. There was overwhelming numbers. They kept coming, and it was like, okay, this is it, and that's when like I said, I had my 45, and I just closed my eyes for a moment, and then when I woke up again and I looked around, and I saw it was pitch black, and I could hear the moaning and everything, and I held on to that 45 because I might need it at any moment. I thought to myself, I might need it, and then, like I said, I could hear, battles going on. I could still hear gunfire, and I could still hear screaming. I could still, artillery was still going on. They were still dropping artillery all around us to keep them off of us, and when I woke up, I thought to myself, they'll be coming any minute. They'll be coming. And now it's just starting to get light. And all of a sudden, there's just total quiet. Don't hear nothing. And I'm looking around, and I got that 45, and all of a sudden, through the bushes, we had what they called reactionary forces. They were aboard. They were special aircraft carriers that had helicopters on them. And the group that came to pull us out was the 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. Since then, I met some of the brothers who were actually there and who said, hey, we came to pull you guys out. Well, I said, like in Platoon, I saw them coming through the bush, man. You know, they all of a sudden they're coming through and there's bodies everywhere. You know, I was hit, I was wounded, but felt no pain. Didn't even bother me. You know, I wasn't even thinking about my wounds. There were so many people who had so many wounds all around me. People with their intestines hanging out of their bodies. People with their arms blown off, their legs blown off. People who had, the human body is an amazing thing. There was people who were hit 10, 12. I remember the most was 17 times. This one guy was hit 17 times, still alive. I mean, hit all over, like peppered all over him and stuff. But he was still alive, you know. So I knew that my wounds weren't that bad. I knew that I could still fight. I had one gun and, you know, a couple of clips. I mean, so I said, I can still fight. And I'm not in any pain. I mean, I'm not feeling nothing. I feel no pain whatsoever. I feel more for the brothers who are all around me, wounded so badly. Doc Fitzgerald had been wounded so bad that they had put him on a pile of the dead. And there's the living, okay, we'll put you over here. And then there's the dead. We don't need to worry about them. You know, they drag them over there. Well, that's where Doc was. When another corpsman came by and recognized that it was Doc, and then checked his vitals and saw that he was still alive, and gave him quick triage and then dragged him over to the living side in the hole where I was at, you know, and they brought him in. And so I knew all the time that I was still one of the lucky ones.